Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. If you have not done so already, sign up for the Locked On Cougars Insider Group, get the inside scoop on all things I'm hearing about BYU sports. Best part is just $4.99, $5 give or take, every single month. And the kicker is you get a 14-day free trial to be a part of the Insider Group. The link is in the show notes below, or reach out to us and via social media or email, and we'll get you squared away. But looking forward to seeing many more of you join us in the Locked On Cougars Insider Group. We've got a really, really fun group and a lot of good conversations going on. So hope you guys will consider joining in the near future. All right, let's talk a little bit about Ryder Lyons. Now, the biggest thing with Ryder Lyons, the most recent intel out of the national media, is he's back to favoring USC. There's a crystal ball from our friends over at 24/7 Sports that indicate that he is favoring going to LA to team up with his brother Walker, who's a tight end for the USC Trojans. There was a stretch there earlier this year that there was a very favorable opinion that BYU was that dark horse that could ultimately land the five-star talent out of Folsom, California. He is ultimately going to go on his official visits coming up next month, and BYU has him slated to visit the weekend of June 20th, last I heard, and that is a big opportunity to make an impression and maybe surge back into the lead for BYU. There's been a big question from a number of you in our insiders group and others who have said, Jake, well, what does Bear Bachmeier mean for the chances of BYU landing a guy like Ryder Lyons? To be frank, it doesn't affect anything, because Ryder Lyons is going on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, he's stated he's going for a one-year mission. That's not actually a thing. He's just going to come home after a year. That's his own prerogative. It's his own decision. I'm not going to judge him. The fact he's even going on a mission, I applaud him for that decision, because it's not easy for a guy of his caliber to step away from football for any period of time, it feels like. But he's going on a mission, and in essence, he is part of the 2027 recruiting cycle. Bear Bachmeier is your 2026 quarterback, for lack of a better term, if you're the BYU football program, if you're kind of doling out where scholarships go each year. That doesn't affect, I think, BYU's chances of landing a guy like Ryder Lyons. Ryder is his own guy. He's been very clear that he wants to make his own path in college football at BYU or otherwise. He's a very, very talented player. He's kind of built in the same frame as a guy like Bear Bachmeier, who's more of a stout, stocky quarterback, but he's got all the athleticism out there to succeed at the Power 4 level. There's a reason why he's a five-star talent. He's got a rocket arm, really, really good mechanics. The accuracy is all there. He's the perfect fit in BYU system, or really any system. That's what a five-star quarterback is meant to be. It's the type of guy that you build your entire offense around. And BYU would love to have a guy like Ryder Lyons in the program. I got no doubt about that. That talent is absolutely undeniable. And he would be the first five-star quarterback to sign with BYU, I think, since Jake Heaps, if I'm not mistaken. Now, there's some that say Jake was a four-star quarterback when he ultimately signed, but he was the best quarterback in his class when he signed with BYU back in 2010. Now, his career didn't go the way any of us expected. We all know that. But I think what Ryder Lyons brings to the table, it's more than enticing. And if BYU has any chance of landing a talent like him, you do it. You sell the farm, as it were, to get him to Provo. Yes, there's going to be NIL money involved. Yes, there's probably going to have to be some recruiting promises made, whether it's, hey, you're going to have a chance to compete for playing time the second you step on campus, even after your mission. But I wouldn't expect any of that to be being promised anywhere else. I would expect USC or Oregon, who are considered to be two of the favorites to land a guy like Ryder Lyons, they're probably making those same promises. And they've been more than willing to say, yeah, we'll wait for you. We'll let you go on that mission. And yes, we will essentially plan on you being a part of our 2027 recruiting cycle versus 2026, even though he is a part of the 2026 class. So simply put, BYU could cap off an absolutely incredible run with a commitment like Ryder Lyons. I don't think it slows down anything with regards to if Bear Bachmeier blocks the way for Ryder Lyons. I trust when national media say that a guy like Ryder Lyons is favoring USC, because there is a lot of moving parts when it comes to all this, as you might imagine. And the fact that his brother is already there in LA playing for the Trojans. Yeah, much like Bear and Tiger Bachmeier, it's very easy for a family to say, you know what, we're going to keep it a family thing and we're going to go play at the same university. There are siblings who play at other universities. That's been a thing that happens often. But I can understand totally why a guy like Ryder Lyons would be pulled to USC. The tradition, it's the USC Trojans. I don't think I need to say anything more than it's just the University of Southern California. Now, some of you may say it's the University of Spoiled Children, and I'm not going to disagree with you, but the football tradition there is absolutely insane. And much like BYU, they used to be called halfback U. Speaking of USC, they had a lot of guys win the Heisman Trophy as running backs. They had a lot of good quarterbacks as well. The Matt Leinerts, the Carson Palmers, man. Most recently, you can look at who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the Bears quarterback. Man, this is brutal for me. I'm going to Google Bears QB as I'm talking about this. But the thing is, you look at it, Caleb Williams, there you go. Mr. Fingernails himself. If you know that reference, you know what I'm talking about. But the bigger point is they got a strong tradition of quarterbacks, and Lincoln Riley is considered to be a quarterback whisperer. Now, your opinion of Lincoln Riley may vary, but you cannot argue with what USC offers as a quarterback. The fact that they play in the Big Ten, which is considered to be one of the two biggest conferences in college football, that's a draw as well. But I'm thinking of all these different reasons why it might pull him to USC. But BYU is right there in the mix. They got a strong tradition of quarterback play. That's one thing that Bear Bachmeier highlighted is the fact that BYU's pantheon of quarterbacks and this track record of success. It's unmatched in many respects. BYU can do a lot, and the NIL prowess BYU has brought to bear, that's always going to be an option here for BYU to be a top-notch competitor, because some kids are driven by money. Other kids are driven by playing opportunities. Other guys are driven by what the jersey is. They want to wear a USC jersey. I get all that. But I think the BYU, until they're told they're out of it, they will absolutely stay hot on the heels of a guy like Ryder Lyons, and for good reason. You don't just say, "Oh, USC's in it, we're out." No, that mentality for BYU, it died a long time ago, and it should have died an even longer time ago. BYU has to understand that they are on the same plane, the same level playing field on the recruiting front as the USCs of the world. Yes, the tradition and the name brand recognition, that all exists for those programs, but BYU shouldn't be afraid of offering any kid who has any interest in BYU and compete favorably for their signature, because we just saw them go 11-2 a year ago. How much better could they be with a 5-star quarterback on their roster? I would imagine that would upgrade them even more so. And that's the exciting proposition if you're a Cougar fan. Could they add, like I said, the lion to the tiger and bear? Give the analogy, kind of bringing it full circle here. All right, that's going to do it. As always, thank you for all of your support of the podcast. You guys mean the world to me personally. It's been a really, really fun couple of months here. And crazy thing is the transfer portal, it just keeps giving us content and stories, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping anytime soon. So we will have you covered literally every single day. And if you've not noticed it, we're also looking back at the all 100 years of BYU football seasons, ranking them from 100 to 1. We did 198 this past week. We'll get to 97 through, I think, like 93 this week as well. So stay tuned for those on the podcast feeds wherever you catch this podcast as well. But as always, thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. And once again, thank you for being everydayers with us right here on the Locked On Cougars podcast.